This shower runs, but it's refusing to get hot, and it's not the water heater's fault. This is the culprit. It is a Posi-Temp shower cartridge. Problems can range from no hot water, to no cold water, to no water at all. We'll start by unthreading the set screw with an Allen wrench to remove the handle. Here's a little tip so you don't have to learn the hard way. Cover up that drain hole with a towel. Now we'll remove this screw so we can pull out a group of parts that includes the handle adapter and the temperature limit stop. Next, we pull out the stop tube. On to removing the escutcheon, or faceplate, beginning with these two screws. There was some silicone around the base of the plate, so we scored it with a razor knife. Depending on your setup, you may not have to remove the escutcheon. Be sure to note the orientation of the cartridge by looking for the letters HC. We'll need to insert the new cartridge with the same orientation. Before we can pull out the cartridge, we must cut off the main water supply to the house. After cutting the water off, we'll want to drain the water lines by opening up a faucet or hose bib. We like to open up a hose bib because they are typically lower and will drain more of the water out of the lines. Now, we'll prep the area by stuffing a towel partially in the hole to catch any residual water and to act as a stop if we accidentally drop the pin that needs to come out of the body of the valve. Be careful not to drop this pin behind the wall. We ended up trying a couple methods to pull out the cartridge. Most were unsuccessful, starting with some vice grips and sheer strength. Next, we tried this little plastic piece, which came with the new shower cartridge. This piece fits over the stem and the prongs sit inside the valve. You're supposed to be able to twist and break the seal of the cartridge and then pull it on out. If only it was that easy. We even brought out the vice grips to give it one last effort. Save yourself some time and just go get a puller tool. Instead of plastic, this tool is made of metal. The puller tool also has prongs that sit inside the valve. It also has a screw that will thread into the stem and a sizable nut on the end, which is supposed to hopefully break any stubborn seals when you begin turning it with a wrench. After a few turns of the nut, the seal should break, which should make pulling this thing out a little easier. We found it's easiest after breaking the seal to pull back the nut off the valve. A twisting motion seems to help as well. This was still very difficult, but not impossible. I'm not sure we could have gotten this thing out using those other methods. Go ahead and get a puller tool. For context, this shower is not frequently used, and in this area there tends to be a lot of hard water. Like I said, this was still pretty difficult. We ended up spraying some lime away on the old cartridge to hopefully bust up any crust. The rubber seals from the cartridge seemed to be the source of the difficulty. They ended up breaking apart after pulling out the cartridge. While everything was opened up, we took this opportunity to clean the inside of the valve body. We used some Scotch-Brite and some more lime away. We also thought it was a good idea to blow out the water lines, so we turned the water back on without the cartridge inside to remove any particles or debris. This may be a little more chaotic if your area has higher water pressure. We only have about 45 pounds. On to installing the new cartridge. We'll start by drying out the valve body. Next, we lube up the new cartridge, which will help seat the new part into its proper position. Lube is typically included with the new part. We'll want to focus the lubing on the rubber pieces. Don't go light on the lube. Remember how hard it was to pull out. Because it can't hurt, we also added some lube into the hole. Before inserting the new cartridge, ensure the tab with the letters HC goes back on the same side it came out. For us, it goes on top. Also, when inserting, do not push on the stem of the cartridge. Use the white tabs at the base of the stem to push in the cartridge. With all that lube we used earlier, things were getting a little slippery. So this last little bit to get inserted was a little difficult. However, we were able to utilize that worthless piece of plastic from earlier. We also used a handle from a quick change screwdriver to push in the rest. You know what? I don't actually think we needed that plastic piece, but oh well. Next, the pen, and don't forget, don't drop it. Also notice how the valve stem has two flat sides. The side with two steps goes on the opposite side of the HC. The flat side with no steps should be oriented on the same side with the HC. In this position, the valve should be closed. After turning the water back on, and prior to completely reassembling everything, we checked to see if we actually resolved the initial issue, which was no hot water. This is also a good time to check for leaks. And it works! Hot water is now flowing. Did a little cleaning up before reinstalling the faceplate, peeled off any excess silicone, then hit the surface with some cleaner. On to reinstalling the escutcheon, being sure to correctly orient hot and cold. When attaching the faceplate, be sure to alternate screws when tightening, and hand tighten the final bit. A quick note, we opted not to use silicone because this escutcheon has a rubber seal underneath. Next, push the stop tube back in, then the temperature limit stop, which can restrict how far the handle turns. To not limit the hot water, you would set the smaller piece in line with the bigger piece at a 12 o'clock position. For us, we slightly limited the amount of hot water by setting the smaller piece clockwise at the 1 o'clock position. Slide on the handle adapter, then thread the valve screw. And finally, the handle. Now it's time to enjoy a nice hot shower.